Rev up your engines! Today I'm going to give you a warning about working on your own car's electrical system. Now you can't see electricity, so you need some kind of device. In the case of this vehicle, it wouldn't start. So he tows it over here. First thing I'll do is I'll check the battery. Now the battery itself is very simple to test. Positive to positive, negative to negative, and do what the machine says. It's 12 volts. We want battery capacity. This is a standard battery called cranking amps. All cranking amps, okay? This one, of course, it's hidden under there. 750 cold cranking amps. So we got to move this to 750. And what does the test say? It's a good battery, but it needs to be recharged. Now, it should be good enough to start the car, but at least try to start it, turn the key, nothing. It's dead. Now, even though it needs recharging, there's enough power to start the car, and you can see it's doing nothing. There's got to be something wrong with the wiring, and unfortunately, it all started out when a guy was trying to wire some fog lamps in. He wanted to wire it off of one of the fuses in the fuse box. Take my advice. Never, ever, ever do that. If you want to wire a device in your car, fog lamp, stereo, whatever, do like the pros do. Wire it directly for power off the positive terminal of the battery, put a wire with its own fuse, and then put a switch inside the car to turn it on. He wanted to have it that if he had his fog lamps on and he turned the car off, the fog lamps would go off. Don't do that. You want to put fog lamps on? Hey, just put a switch. It's fog lamps, right? On, off, off. And if you forget, go out and look, you see they're on. Hey, that's good enough, right? Do not mess with the wiring in the car. And the reason is, they're all fused, see? 10 amps, 30 amps, 15 amps, 7.5 amps. They are made to carry a certain amount of electricity. You add something to it, put more amps, more power drawn. The car was not designed for that. You can destroy the main computer. You can destroy all kinds of things because it's not made for that extra power. You know, the kids that have the big basses, boom, 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 the house is shaking, right? They all wire them by putting wiring on the battery. Some of them even have a special battery in the back, a spare one, right? That's completely isolated from the rest of the system because they use so much power. But for most things, you can wire them right on the battery, but wire them from the battery with the fuse to your device. Then you are not messing with the integrity of the wiring system of the car that's in the fuse box. And whenever you do work on a wiring system, believe me, do like I do. Remove the negative terminal. Take the battery cable off the negative terminal. I like to wiggle a little. Get it out of the way. Because once you take that off, there's no longer power flowing to the system. So if you do screw up and short something out, it's not going to damage anything until you put the cable back on. Now this won't stop a complete unknowledgeable person from still wrecking stuff, because let's say they put wires on wrong. As soon as they connect that cable, it'll pop fuses or it'll start a fire, it'll burn because it's been done incorrectly. But if you take it off while you're doing the work, you might have a live wire, you might accidentally touch the ground and short something out. That won't short anything out if it's disconnected. Like I say, if you don't know anything about electricity in cars, don't work on them. Leave it to guys like me to work on, right? If you know enough, always disconnect the battery cable before you do any electrical work. You can fry computer circuits, you can damage all kinds of things. With them disconnected, there's no power. Just make sure you're doing it right. And in his case, his fog lamp wire should go all the way into the dash to a switch, and then come back here to the positive terminal on the other side of the switch, and have maybe a 15 amp fuse, 10 amp fuse for the fog lamps. And that's the safety device. Don't mess with the wires here. Don't mess with the relays here. And don't mess with the fuses. Just keep that in mind so you don't destroy anything. Well, now in this case, I don't know exactly what he did. He just towed it in here and it won't start. Nothing happens when you turn the key, right? But the battery is good enough to start the car. It's low. So that gives me a real good idea what's happening. The battery's low. It's a good battery, the machine says, but that it's low. It needs recharging. So one of two things are wrong. Something's wrong in the wiring, or the alternator's not charging the car. Well, we got to get this thing started. So there's got to be something wrong with the wiring. So we'll go through the wiring. Once we're done and we get it running, hopefully, you never know, right? Once you get it running, I will test the alternator. And then we'll find out, did the short create not enough charge and a not start condition? Or is there another problem, like the alternator itself's going bad? So, we'll put the negative cable back on, and you want to make sure it's tight. Get it nice and snug. All right, it doesn't pull now. You notice I wiggled this. Okay, this is a ground strap. It's very important. It's loose. We need to tighten that up. I don't know if he loosened it or what. So we know the battery's good enough to start the car, but it won't do anything. So, let's see if he fried something, or whether something else is loose too. It could be just this is loose enough to make it not start. That helps ground the body of the car. For electricity to work, at least direct current like this, DC battery, you gotta have power, but you also have to have ground. It's gotta be a complete circuit. So, anything that impedes the completion of the circuit won't let you start the car. I have no idea what he did. Let's start looking for any wiring that's disconnected. It all seems to be there. The other end seems to be okay. Plus, there's a bunch of wires coming off of the positive terminal. They run various things. And somebody put an aftermarket battery terminal. The factory one is this. This is an aftermarket one. A lot of times it stops the connections from working right, but that was put on a long time ago. It's not like it's brand new. I've seen people put those on and they're made wrong and they're completely insulated and the car won't start at all. He's been driving it for a while, so, you know, it's okay. I don't particularly like those designs. So just like the negative, I'll start pulling and look at this thing. It's loose as can be. This thing's gotten loose. So, we're gonna get this as tight as we can. Now nothing's wiggling. So, let's get back in and see if he got lucky. The thing's just somehow loosened up on him while he was doing the work. Check it out. Success! Well, it looks like he got lucky, because it did start. But, like I say, it said the battery was good, but it needed recharging. Let's see if either the alternator was damaged or the alternator was just going bad. So we're going to check that. So we connect the tester again. So we'll turn everything on, put the blower on, turn the radio on, turn off all those. Okay, we turned them all off, rev it up. Charging is good. Loaded, unloaded, it's working fine. So because all those cables were loose, even when it ran for them, it wasn't running right. Loose cables create a bigger draw. That can destroy things and it won't allow you to fully charge the battery because the cable's loose. Hopefully it hasn't damaged the alternator over time. At least it's working out. He didn't do any electrical damage. Now, since he did mess with it and tried hooking that thing up right in the fuse box, I'm going to have to do a scan too to see if any other damage was done. So, here we go, diagnosis, reading auto diagnostics, and read the VIN number. So far it's working pretty good. It knows it's a Tacoma, North America, okay. We'll do a health report to see if anything's wrong. I like a cool little scan, yeah, looks cool, okay. Now I realize this vehicle does have 175,000 miles. We're looking to see if he wrecked anything in his work. Okay, all the codes are for the airbag system. I don't know if he had airbag problems before. Lights on now. But he does now. Everything else is totally normal. So I'll close the hood, take it for a spin. See if anything doesn't work. Windows are working. Horn works. Oh, funky backup camera. Look at it. It's a half of that. Gives me a headache looking at part of the camera, part of the outside world. Well, it's idling fine. Without shifts, it is an electronically controlled transmission. Doesn't look like he did any damage other than if the airbag system wasn't acting up before he damaged that, but a lot of these, the airbag systems break as they age. My son's did too. It's kind of typical as they age. That's why you use seat belts. Seat belts are simple. They don't break. They're not electronic. Well, it didn't look like anything got seriously damaged. So let's just say he got lucky. And yes, you can learn from his mistake. You have to be logical when you're working on electrical systems. You're going to work on them, take off the negative terminal so you don't damage anything. Never, ever hook anything up to those fuse boxes. They're made for a certain amount of power, and they make vehicles as cheap as they can, so you can't overpower one of those little fuses or realize they're only made for what they're designed for. That's why there's so many of them in there. So if you're going to add something, put it on the battery terminal. Put its own wire and fuse on it. And if you're a real fanatic, add a relay system. Relay systems can be added on. I've got an old video on YouTube about how to hook up relays. It's not that complex, right? So you can't see electricity, so you got to use your head, understand how it works, so you don't mess something up. And remember, loose wires create electrical problems that, even though if you put a meter on it, it might seem okay, once you try to start the car and put a load on it, then you got serious problems. So, now you know a little bit more about electricity. You can decide, do you want to mess with it, or do you want to leave it to the pros like me? So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.